It is the 3rd of May, 2021. It is the 30th anniversary of the Windhoek Declaration. And of course, today, as has been the case for so many years, is World Press Freedom Day. There has been a conference going on for so long here in Windhoek, and today, the curtain on this important occasion is coming down. In this regard, we are now, of course, in the last stretch of the conference, and I will invite Guy Berger. Professor Guy Berger is the Director of Freedom of Expression and Media Development at UNESCO, to get us into something very, very exciting right now. He'll take to the podium right now. Professor.
Thank you, Toivo, MC. Greetings, people around the world, people in the hall here in Windhoek, Namibia. Happy World Press Freedom Day. Today we stand on the shoulders of our ancestors, and now we have built further on the house that they gave us with a new declaration, the Windhoek+30. With me today, we have the co-chairs of the drafting committee, Gwen Lister and my colleague Guilherme Canella. I'm going to ask them to tell you about the process and about the key points that came out of these deliberations and the consultations that bring us to this high point. First of all, Guilherme Canella, please give us some background.
Hello. Again, good morning for those in some parts of the world. Good afternoon to us all here in Windhoek and in this part of the world. And good evening for many of those that are listening and viewing to us from the Asia-Pacific region. So this was a fantastic process. It's important to understand, Gwen, the process that you and I have the honor to co-chair. This process actually started many months ago, because before the World Press Freedom Day this year, we had different consultations, regional consultations in all the regions of the world, and also thematic consultations about the three main topics of this conference: media viability, transparency of digital platforms, and the issue of media and information literacy. So all those different consultations that ended more or less in the beginning of April, they informed the zero draft declaration that you all had access in the platform of this conference. So all the 3,000 plus delegates connected in the platform, they had the opportunity first to comment the zero draft. There was a deadline of last Friday evening for commenting that zero draft. Then, absorbing those comments, the draft committee prepared a second draft that was online on Saturday evening, so a new round for comments. And then finally now, after observing and implementing some of those comments, we have now this declaration that we are going to, that actually Teresa, our colleague from UNESCO, is distributing here lively in Windhoek, but very shortly will be in the platform, in the website, so you can see it. And Gwen, we had the pleasure to co-chair this committee with very interesting people. Toby Mendel from Canada, Mira Milosevic, who is now, I guess, Mira told me today she's in Scotland, but she is from Serbia, right, Guy? And Raul Echeverria, who is currently in Montevideo, Uruguay, and Yuli Ismartono from Indonesia. And we have our colleague Elisa Kirkland as secretary of this of this committee. And it was very exciting. Obviously, this is a document that should be concise, should be global, should incorporate the different suggestions from different parts of the world. But this is the declaration that we are showing to you, but also we received so many interesting ideas that, as happened in 1991, we will have another document that is not this declaration, but with all those suggestions, with all those recommendations on how to operationalize policies, etc. The UNESCO Secretariat will work on that, and that other document will be available also soon. But today is the day of the declaration. But I guess, Gwen, it's not very different of the process you experienced in many other previous editions of the World Press Freedom Day, right?
Yes, exactly, Guillaume, especially going back to Windhoek 91. I think it's often forgotten that, the independent sort of guerrilla typewriters, as they called them then, of Africa were in predominance at that meeting. But there were also government or representatives of government media there present. So often, as happens with the adoption of a declaration and the wide and broad consultation that happens, there's a lot of push and pull going on as people want their points in, or they want something strengthened, or they want something taken out. And equally, in 91, there was quite a fight, a battle to get that free, independent and pluralistic media through, especially with government people who didn't necessarily agree with those goals. So I think very much the same with just about any declaration, and this one. At the end of the day, it often works out as more or less a compromise of views. But I think we have a good document here and something that we can take forward. Windhoek 91 being a part of history now, this is the way forward. And especially for the younger people to take this and take the new media challenges forward into the future.
I agree. And I must tell you all that, as usual, those drafting committees are also a nice intellectual exercise in discussing with very knowledgeable colleagues what we can add, what we need to take out, and how to accommodate this multi-stakeholder exercise with comments from people with different legitimate interests, but how we represent this in, again, a multi-stakeholder document. So we were very, very happy to co-chair this and to count with the support of these fantastic colleagues that helped us in this discussion. So now, with the indulgence of the Master of Ceremonies and our moderator here, Gwen and myself, we would like to give you a sense of what is that in that declaration. We are not going to read the entire document, don't worry. You have that in your hands, and I hope the document it's already uploaded or will be shortly uploaded. This child just born, no? So bear with us. But maybe we should start, no?
Guillaume, can you give me 1 second? Because Guy's laptop has gone to sleep, and I don't have the password, so I'd rather deal with a paper version. Thank you, Guy.
This is the final?
Okay.
Oh, okay, I have it.
Thank you. We were waiting for the printout while I was accessing that. I think we go ahead.
So we start now?
Shall we do the introduction? And
yes.
1, 2, 3.
We, the participants at the UNESCO World Press Freedom Day International Conference, held in Windhoek, Namibia, 29 April, 3rd May 2021, recalling Article 19 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which states everyone has the right to freedom of opinion and expression. This right includes freedom to hold opinions without interference and to seek, receive, and impart information and ideas through any media and regardless of frontiers.
Commemorating the continuing relevance, legacy, and role of the 1991 Windhoek Declaration as a catalyst for the proclamation of World Press Freedom Day and an inspiration for ongoing action to promote and to protect freedom of expression, free, independent and pluralistic media, and access to information across the world.
Convinced that as a public good, Information empowers citizens to exercise their fundamental rights, supports gender equality, and allows for participation and trust in democratic governance and sustainable development, leaving no one behind. And that information as a public good is also a key underpinning of effective measures to address global emergencies, such as climate and health crisis, specifically the COVID-19 pandemic.
Alarmed by both enduring and new threats to the safety of journalists and the free exercise of journalism, including killings, harassment of women, offline and online attacks, intimidation, and the promotion of fear and arbitrary detentions, as well as the adoption of laws which unduly restrict freedom of expression and access to information in the name of, among other things, combating false information, protecting national security, and combating violent extremism, and also deeply concerned at the increasing numbers of internet disruptions, including internet shutdowns, particularly during elections and protests.
We all, therefore, call on all governments to commit to creating a positive, enabling environment for freedom of expression and access to information online and offline, in line with international guarantees of these rights, including a free, independent, and pluralistic media, through adopting appropriated legal measures in a transparent manner and following adequate public consultation, guaranteeing the exercise of journalism free of governmental interference through both formal and informal actions, promoting universal access to the internet, and taking measures to reinforce the safety of journalists, including with a specific focus on women journalists, particularly through the UN Plan of Action on Safety of Journalists and the issue of impunity.
So the call would go out to UNESCO and other intergovernmental organizations to, among others, encourage the development of joint funding instruments supported by a combination of states, multilateral institutions, private foundations, and philanthropists to promote journalism as a public good.
The call is also on technology companies to conduct transparent human rights risk assessments, including to identify threats to freedom of expression, access to information, and privacy, take appropriate action to eliminate or mitigate those threats, and disclose the impact of those actions.
The call would also go out to journalists, media outlets, civil society, and academia to, among others, and I just find the point here, promote a more inclusive, pluralistic, and sustainable media sector, including through measures that promote the involvement of young people, women, and marginalized groups in the media.
And we also call to a collective action and agree and adopt new and innovative measures and mechanisms, including of a multilateral and multi-stakeholder nature, following broad consultative processes to ensure respect by states for freedom of expression and access to information, and that digital platforms, practices, and systems which affect user interaction with information are appropriately transparent.
And the second last paragraph of the declaration reads as follows: press freedom, independence, and pluralism remain major goals to guarantee information as a public good that serves as a resource for the whole of humanity. To these goals, we now add those of media and journalism viability, transparency of digital platforms, and the citizenry empowered with media and information literacy.
This
The Windhoek+30
declaration pays tribute to those who opened up this path. Now let each of us resolve to do our part to help secure information as a public good, as an urgency today and as a legacy for those who come after us. Thank you.
Thank you. I felt like I was in school again.
Over to you guys.
Thank you, dear co-chairs of the steering committee. Gwen Lister mentioned the typewriters of 1991. Of course, today we have TikTok. We've gone from T to T. But the principles stay the same. It's only the issues that evolve. The declaration that we have here could have been an encyclopedia, but luckily we have this drafting committee that took all the ideas and submissions and put them together, found what was common, really put its finger on the key points, and you'll see this in the declaration. So here we are. We have a record of this really historic event. We have a record of the issues that have been deliberated here. We've shaped this through months of participation, including the regional fora. And here we are. We don't have a binding document, but we have a brilliant document. This is a resource for humanity, as it says in its final conclusion. It's a resource that helps give us guidance about what we need to do to advance information as a public good. One day, inshallah, you here in Windhoek, Namibia, plus all of you around the world, you will have gray hair like me. And you in turn will become ancestors for future generations. Congratulations, because you are bequeathing to these future generations this fantastic guidance about how we can get information as a public good for human rights, democracy, and sustainable development. Therefore, may I call on you to please give us a huge round of virtual and physical acclamation and acclaim as we adopt the Windhoek+30 Declaration. Thank you. And with that, we hand back to our MC, who is going to introduce our closing speakers. We have a statement from the floor. We have Ambassador Salah from the African Union Commission.
I'm sorry my hand was raised before the adoption. I think it will not really be completed without a vote of thanks to the government and the people of Namibia to be included as part of the bottom of this declaration.
Thank you very much. We have a proposal by Ambassador Salah Hamad from African Union, and he's saying we need to add at the end a vote of thanks to the government and people of Namibia for hosting this conference. I'm quite sure we all adopt that. Again, can you show with a round of applause we adopt that important point? Thank you very much, Ambassador. So over to Ivo to introduce our wrap-up with the two co-chairs of the steering committee that led us to this fantastic point. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor, for your able leadership again of that important session. I think it is a session we were all waiting for because it is a manifestation of what we've been doing for the past couple of months, couple of weeks, and couple of days. Now, it's time to dance a little bit. We are celebrating these milestones with music from Big Band.